Our engagement dinner was supposed to be one of the happiest nights of my life. The room was filled with family, friends, and laughter. I was wearing the dress I had dreamed of, and the man I loved sat beside me, holding my hand. It felt like a dream. The night had been planned for weeks. My parents booked the restaurant, his parents brought in relatives, and we even hired a small live band. Everything was perfect. Until it wasn't. It started innocently enough. People were giving little toasts, sharing stories, making jokes. His best friend stood up and teased him about how he used to be terrible at cooking. Everyone laughed. I don't know what came over me, but I decided to add my own joke. Without thinking, I said, "Well, at least he's gotten better at staying loyal." Took him long enough, right? The room went silent. What I thought was harmless banter landed like a bomb. His hand slowly slipped out of mine. He looked at me, his eyes dark and unreadable, as whispers filled the room. I tried to laugh it off, waving my hand. "Come on, it's just a joke." But no one was laughing. My words had turned the joyous dinner into a funeral. What I hadn't realized was how deeply my comment cut him. Loyalty was everything to him. His father had once abandoned the family for another woman, and he had sworn never to walk that path. For me to joke about loyalty, even casually, was like stabbing him in the heart. I could see it in his face. Hurt, betrayal, disbelief. He didn't shout. He didn't cause a scene. He just stood up slowly, pushed his chair back, and excused himself. The sound of his chair scraping against the floor was deafening in that silent room. I rushed after him, begging, "Wait, I didn't mean it. It was just a joke." But he didn't stop. He walked straight out of the restaurant, leaving me in my gown, surrounded by stunned faces. His mother glared at me. His sister shook her head. My own parents looked like they wanted to disappear. The rest of the dinner went on in awkward silence, but for me, the night was already over. I tried calling him dozens of times that night. He didn't answer. The next morning, I went to his apartment, but his roommate told me he had left early. He wanted space. Days passed with no response. Finally, after a week, he agreed to meet me at a cafe. My heart raced as I walked in, praying he would forgive me. He sat there, arms crossed, expression cold. "Do you have any idea how humiliating that was?" he asked. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried so much pain. "I was joking," I whispered. "I didn't mean it like that." But he shook his head. "You don't joke about loyalty. Not in front of everyone. Not when you know my history." Tears burned in my eyes. I tried to explain, to tell him it was just nerves, that I hadn't thought it through. But to him, it didn't matter. The damage was already done. He said something that shattered me. "If you can humiliate me in public before we're even married, what happens when we are? What happens when it's worse than a joke?" I reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "I can't do this," he said firmly. And just like that, our engagement was over. I left the cafe numb, my heart in pieces. One careless moment had destroyed years of love and trust. A single sentence I thought was funny had cost me the man I wanted to spend my life with. People told me he would come around, that maybe he just needed time. But weeks turned into months, and he never came back. His social media showed him moving on, smiling again, but without me. I replayed that night over and over in my head. If I had just kept quiet, if I had chosen my words carefully, things might have been different. But regrets don't rewrite the past. Eventually, I heard he had moved to another city for work. That was the final nail in the coffin of our relationship. He wasn't just leaving me. He was leaving everything behind. I kept the engagement ring for a while, unable to let go. But every time I looked at it, it felt like a cruel reminder of what I had lost. One day, I finally put it away in a box. Our families stopped asking questions. The whispers died down. But inside me, the shame never truly faded. I had let a careless joke destroy something beautiful. Years later, I still think about him. I wonder if he's happy, if he's married, if he has kids. And I wonder if he ever thinks about me, the woman who loved him but lost him with one thoughtless comment. I've learned since then that words can build or break. That silence is sometimes better than trying to be funny. And that once trust is broken, it rarely heals. One joke sounds small. But for me, it was everything. It was the crack that split my world apart. And now, whenever I sit at a dinner table and someone makes a joke, I laugh politely. But inside, I remember the night I lost him. Because sometimes, the price of one careless moment is a lifetime of regret.